Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall is doing more to protect parents' rights in Alberta than Alberta Premier Rachel Notley ever has. You know, what a difference one street in the middle of Lloydminster makes. Earlier this year, the Court of Queen's Bench in Saskatchewan ruled that governments should not be allowed to give funding to Catholic schools for non-Catholic students. The ruling itself would destroy more than 100 years of parental choice in education in Saskatchewan, but it does something else too. It would force 10,000 non-Catholic students out of Catholic schools and jeopardize provincial funding for 26 other faith-based schools in Saskatchewan. The ruling is basically asking Catholic schools to discriminate against their non-Catholic students based on faith. It's crazy. If non-Catholic parents have no issues sending their children to a Catholic school and see the obvious benefit of religious education, and the Catholic schools want the students there, what's the problem here? Well, the problem is that religious education and school choice in general is under constant attack. If Catholic schools, especially in rural areas, are not able to take non-Catholic students, the population numbers at those schools can drop to the point where Catholic schools will just have to close. The court ruling will result in a backdoor prohibition on Catholic schooling in some areas of Saskatchewan. So, this week, the Saskatchewan government, supported by their surprisingly pragmatic NDP opposition, is introducing legislation to invoke the notwithstanding clause in Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, invoking the notwithstanding clause will give the province of Saskatchewan the power and ability to undo and override the court's decision. In fact, the last time the notwithstanding clause was invoked by a provincial government, well, it was invoked in Quebec, and then it was used to protect religious schools for Indigenous students. All this got me thinking about what a difference that one street in Lloydminster makes. You guys know the street I'm talking about. Meridian Avenue, that's the one that divides Alberta from Saskatchewan. Here in Alberta, religious education is under vicious and constant attack, but it's not from the courts, and it's not entirely from activists. It's from our own NDP government. We know through Freedom of Information investigations that bureaucrats, senior bureaucrats in Alberta education, had their hands all over trying to censor the Bible at a Christian school in the Battle River School Division. And who could forget how Alberta education pulled the plug on the Christian Wisdom Homeschooling Association, leaving 1/3 of all the homeschooled children in the province of Alberta without a school board with just a couple hours' notice. Pastor Brian Coldwell is currently facing a legal battle and possible closure of his 2 schools and his homeschooling association because he refuses to violate his conscience rights and impose the NDP's gay-straight alliances on his private Baptist Christian schools. And Rachel Notley herself has been perpetuating and repeating a vicious lie that the proposed Catholic sex ed curriculum doesn't teach consent. Of course, Catholics teach consent, but we also teach that consensual relationships should happen within the confines of a marriage for the benefit of everyone. It's a ridiculous libel to insinuate that Catholics are okay with marital rape. Conservatives have called for Rachel Notley to apologize for her lie and to quit playing homemade theologian with regard to Catholicism. She, of course, has not. But could you imagine the outcry from Rachel Notley herself if a conservative politician had said that Islamic schools don't teach consent? There'd be pitchforks and torches and resignations. But the government itself and the mainstream media seem completely content to allow Rachel Notley to treat Christian parents as though they're members of some sort of fringe cult. Premier Brad Wall knows that the precedent set by leaving this court ruling unchallenged will spill over into Alberta and across the entire country. So by fighting this court ruling, he's fighting for every single parent in Alberta who chooses religious education for their children too. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Did you know that I have my own show on The Rebel? It's aptly named The Gun Show. Every week I talk about issues that face Alberta. To get access to my show and all of our premium content, become a Rebel subscriber today.